Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and today I am very excited to be checking out in this prototype unboxing video Stalker the board game from Awaken Realms. In the middle of June, which is coming up very soon, on GameFound, Stalker the board game will be launching. Links to that crowdfunding campaign and where it will reside is in the video description and pinned comment. You can also find a link in the top right hand corner of the video right now as well. All these will take you for more information, but also be sure to stay tuned and subscribe to the channel because I will be covering a series of gameplay videos on Stalker to help you make an informed decision as whether or not this game is for you. The first thing that came to mind when I saw this box was the memories that I have with Stalker over the years. And when I say over the years, the original video game that this game is based off of came out in 2007. There were subsequent installments of other games as well, and Stalker 2 is coming out towards the end of this year if it doesn't get delayed into 2024. But long story short, you are right in the window of the right time to be looking at Stalker to see whether or not this is a game for you. And for me personally, as I mentioned, when I saw the actual box here, it brought back memories to when I tried oh so hard back then in 2006 and 7, trying to prepare for the Stalker release with my computer, trying to make sure I could at least bare minimum run the game. I can tell you at that point in time, it struggled to do so, but in a year or so later after that, I was able to put together the components I needed in my PC to be able to play and enjoy the game for the very first time, and actually have been replaying it recently to get ready for this because as a huge fan of the series myself, I am really interested in digging into this one and showing you guys what this one is all about to give you a great idea as to what this thing has to offer on the table. And as this is a prototype, it's worth mentioning that everything here is subject to change and is not in its final form, including the quality of the components you're about to see. Stalker is going to feature high-quality models and top-notch components, as we've come to expect from Awaken Realms. It's going to transport the players to the harsh and cruel zone, and the mechanics have been carefully crafted to provide players with a sense of tension and danger as they tackle the game's challenges. Now, the game will please hardcore players while being accessible to people who are just starting their journey in story-driven board games. The core narrative will be based on the Stalker campfire stories, and these stories will be the missions. The board game is described as a zone crawler. It's suitable for 1 to 4 players. However, the prototype is suitable for 1 to 3 players at this point in time. So yes, you can play the game true solo. The current plan is that the missions themselves are going to be divided into separate boxes, allowing for a smooth transition to the game. The very first item we're going to take a look at is the binder that came with the prototype. Now let's take a look at all the dividers and pockets and information found inside the binder here. So we have a nice picture of a campfire setting here with a number of individuals around it. Moving right along, it talks about your crew. It says the upcoming page provides an exciting opportunity to create your own squad of stalkers, each with their own unique set of skills and abilities. Whether you prefer to take a stealthy approach or go in guns blazing, the choice is yours. Create your own custom team of stalkers, each with their own backstory and motivations for venturing into the zone. With a variety of characters already available, you can form different teams and tailor them to your preferred playstyle. Choose from characters with specialized skills like marksmanship, survival, and stealth. With endless possibilities for customization, you can make your team truly unique and suited to your playstyle. That sounded pretty awesome. Let's continue on to the next page where it talks about the stash. These pages provide a convenient space for you and your team to store all your hard-earned loot. No more tedious searching through various decks before heading into action. You can now easily access all your gear and supplies in one place. So they've definitely learned from what they implemented in ISS Vanguard with the binder approach here, and they're moving it over to Stalker as well. I'm a big fan of the binder, especially in these games where you need to quickly be able to reference things. I even do it for myself in Arkham Horror, the card game, games of that nature, and Lord of the Rings, the living card game. It's very easy to get access to what you need when you need it versus it being in stacks of cards. It also states here, whether you're a seasoned veteran or a newbie to the zone, having a dedicated space to store your loot is a game changer. Keep track of your weapons, ammunition, medkits, and other essential items, and make sure your team is fully equipped and ready for anything. But remember, the zone is a dangerous place, and even the most prepared stalkers can fall victim to its many dangers. Stay vigilant, keep your wits about you, and always be ready for the unexpected. With these pages at your disposal, you'll be able to focus on the action and make the most of your time in the zone. Moving along, we have the hub called Rookie Village. All the people you meet, your contacts, be it traders, faction leaders, a friendly local gunsmith, or that nosy rookie you saved from the bandits, they are all here. So whenever you need something from them, they're easily accessible. No stalker walks alone, so you might want some friends waiting for you when you return from your latest run, even if they want to swap stories, get you that shiny new artifact container, or know how to zero the scope on your AK. It's also worth mentioning that this isn't all of what was inside this binder. I also took out a page, which I'm not going to show you in full because that has some story there tied to it. We're going to talk more about this when we get into the series of videos showing you gameplay. Here's a look inside the main box for the prototype where all the major game components can be found. There is still a white box we'll go through a little bit later, but for now let's start taking stuff out and taking a look at it up close. Here's an up-close look at the prototype map. You can see the legend in the top right-hand corner says stashes and trades are in blue, and in red, scenarios and danger. So for the red side of the equation, we have Chopper up here. We have something huge and dangerous right here. And down here, it looks like we have some kind of rescue going on. It's also tied to mission 01-01. So again, going back to the blue ones, that's stashes and trades. So we have a stash, it looks like, over here. These potentially have bunkers. They have scripts attached to them. This one says script 101. So we can take a look at the map here and get a general sense as to what things are going on in which areas, but we don't know exactly. Very much like the video game, it's a lot about exploring. As I mentioned earlier in the video, the missions themselves come in their own boxes to keep the components specific to them organized and in one place. We have mission number 1 right here for a rescue, and over here the Fray and the Fringe, mission number 2. Now let's take an up-close look at each of the map tiles in the prototype. Next up, we have the player boards. These are known as the PDAs, and there's multiple colors. We have blue, green, and red. Also note that the prototype is 1 to 3 players. The final version will be 4 players, and will have a 4th color in the mix as well. Now, all these player boards are the same beyond the color differences. So let's go over what's on them. We have a weapon slot here, and these slots on the board are all recessed, so keeps things and the cards in place. So a weapon area here, armor, action tokens, inventory slots, the Stalker in the center, and then on the outskirts we have weapon attachment slots 1 and 2, armor attachment, we have 3 wound slots, and then we have a backpack area on the right hand side. You've also got Geiger counters. There's 3 of them, 1 for each player, and you'll see that they're going to keep track of radiation as it increases throughout the game, hopefully not to these levels. Here are the rest of the components that came inside the prototype box laid out. All the miniatures have been removed for now. We'll touch on those towards the end of the video. I'll show you exactly what they look like up close. Also worth mentioning, the mission boxes I already pulled out and showed you guys. I haven't taken the components out of them yet because you will see these up close when we actually go through the gameplay. So for now, let's go through what we have here. I won't go real heavy into this one here. This is the Stalkers Memento. This is going to have rules associated to the different missions inside of this prototype. You'll see the very first one here, part number 1. And it tells us to go to the rules page. This is going to take us through a number of things we need to know, as well as narrative as we go through it, and it's going to go all the way through until we get to the part 2 and to the end of the prototype. In the final version, I imagine that will be much larger. Now let's take a look at some of the larger size cards. We have a nice reference one here for each of the players, icons across this side as well as some on the back. You'll also see actions depicted up top here in terms of things you can do and how they're resolved. And as we get a little further in here, we have some of the enemies in different phases here. So you'll see differences in terms of their weaknesses, their torso, different areas to hit, and their attacks against you, damage, and all that good stuff. We'll talk more about the movement and everything else when we get into gameplay. They also have additional phases. So they go through a phase change potentially. This one here has agitated as a keyword and then enraged on the opposite side. We have enemy cards here. These 2 enemies, when you flip them over, are the bandit cards. So we have one specific to a shotgun bandit. We also have an AK-74 bandit. And then we have an anomaly card here. If we flip this over, specific to the anomalies, which many of you that have played Stalker, the PC game, will be very familiar with those. And then you have the AI scheme card here, which goes over the enemy turn. And then we have the Stalkers themselves themselves across 3 long actions, short actions, as well as a narrative for each of the different characters here that you can pause the screen and read if you wish. Flipping them over, you also see a little more specifics on each of them for their move, sprint, prepare, and their passive ability, which is different across each of the characters. These tokens are known as red noise tokens. These are the yellow noise tokens. Next up, we have Overwatch tokens. We have 3 different types of tokens here. This one is the Jam token, we have the Smoke token, and we have the Pin Down token. Here we have the long action tokens up top, the larger ones. Short action tokens are the smaller ones, and these are called Unknown tokens. Here we got some tokens you're definitely going to want to find, the Loot tokens. The game also includes a Compass token, some colored miniature bases, red universal markers, blue dice, red dice, as well as a wound die. And a drawstring bag with anomaly tokens. Now let's go ahead and take an up-close look at all these mini cards. That's going to do it for the game components besides what's inside the mission boxes, which I'm keeping secret until we head into gameplay. But now we're going to dig into the miniatures. I'm going to show you each unique sculpt up close. That'll do it for the miniatures, and of course there are more of them, but there's duplicates of each of the individual sculpts, and it's also worth mentioning I'm a big fan not only of all the normal sculpts, like the ones of the Stalkers themselves, or the bandits, or these different enemies we're going to run into, but the anomalies are really nice. I really like what they've done with those to make them pop. They're going to look really good on the game table. Inside the white box, there's also something else that's going to help Stalker pop on the table, and that is terrain. That's right, inside this box we actually have walls and terrain to be placed around the map tiles. Now, I don't want to take out every single piece of terrain from the prototype, but I do want to show you some of the major pieces in the box to give you a gist as to what they look like. But here you can see them interlocked together, and you can see like a door frame, window frame, and of course the rubble sides of the walls all the way around to make a room. You also have ones of varying sizes, a smaller one up there in the top right. You have corners. You have these ones here, which will just stand up like this, which will be just walls that'll give you some cover. You also have some really nice miniature terrain as well. These were actually hiding inside the box too, so I'll give you a close-up of how these look. They look awesome. And that, my friends, is going to wrap up the prototype unboxing for Stalker, the board game coming from Awaken Realms. You've seen everything that I received as part of the prototype, and if you'll join me, stay tuned to the channel as we go through a series of videos to show you gameplay, show you how the game flows and operates, and help you to make that informed decision as to whether or not Stalker, the board game, is for you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.